And good morning, everyone. We are continuing our special coverage of the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. We are coming to you from a new location from our friends at the beautiful facilities here at LPB, WLPB, Louisiana Public Broadcasting. And we want to thank these folks for letting us come and use their wonderful facilities as we continue our coverage of the biggest disaster in this state in
forever. And we also want to thank the LSU Manship School of Mass Communications for the tremendous hospitality that they showed in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. And now we have just horrendous news overnight that has come our way. The Associated Press is reporting this morning that looting is out of control in the Big Easy in the city of New Orleans, and Mayor Ray Nagin has ordered virtually the entire police force to abandon search and rescue efforts and focus on these brazen pack of thieves that now endanger human life.
And if you saw the governor's news conference last night, very upset about this. She said she is furious over what's going on. She said she promises that the looting will end so that police officials and National Guard officials can get back to the job that they're needed so desperately to do, and that's search and rescue. And I got to tell you on a personal note, some friends of mine were rescued in St. Bernard, so it was a good day.
Yes, and a very good friend of ours, Ronnie Vergitz, was also rescued. We received that word. And if you go to our website, wwl-tv.com, you will see what do you call that? A section where you can go and log on and let people know where you are. And you can also find out about people. There are so many people who are missing at this time and people who are just out of touch at this time.
And you know, CBS News ran a special on the hurricane last night on their 48 Hours program. They had their whole crew down here and did a magnificent job.
Audio man's name is Paul.
And went over to, I'm not sure what that was, but we'll try and correct that. They went over to the Gulf Coast as well as New Orleans, and they showed all these people and the frustration turning into desperation in so many places is just so visible from New Orleans to St. Bernard, to Plaquemines, to Slidell, and then even in Ponchatoula, and then over to the Gulf Coast. The Mississippi Gulf Coast was absolutely devastated. I mean, not to minimize what's happened here in Louisiana, but I mean, the storm rolled through there with a mighty force. I mean, leveling houses in Bay St. Louis, where they had those beautiful homes along the beach. Almost everyone was, I mean, totally destroyed. Lucy, you were in the KHOU helicopter yesterday, flying over the metro area. A day after I did. The flooding was still very bad when I was there. In some parts, it got a little worse yesterday.
Absolutely. It was a little bit, it was encouraging and discouraging depending on what part of town you're from. But the flooding in some areas got worse. The water rose in some places, and then the water completely receded in others.
Which places are seeing a little more flooding, a little worse water?
Oh, St. Bernard, New Orleans East, just basically the closer you are to the...
and now what part of the interstate are we seeing here?
This is right in downtown New Orleans. That is right around Poydras.
And this is some of the areas that I was talking about, that they're putting those refugees up there, and these people, for the most part, are kind of left to fend for themselves. And there's, as we said, that frustration is turning into desperation. There was that story of that woman who watched her husband die at her feet, and even though she was begging for help, she said a police officer went by and she could not get anybody to help her out. And it's just it's a tough story.
It's so sad. We saw an older woman being put into one of those little swimming pools that you blow up.
Yeah.
And they were
in fact,
using
some
that
people use those as rafts to get out.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And the level of desperation is really evident. Another thing that we noticed was there were a few fires that had broken out while we were flying over, as I'm sure you saw the day before.
Yeah, most of those are the gas leaks.
Well, and normally when you see something like that, you see vehicles all around that trying to put it out.
Right.
Well, they don't have the resources.
And the thing I thought was so odd, and you look at that, it's just unbelievable. When you see those fires break out and sometimes underwater, And the flame is just shooting out because the gas is shooting out. It's like an eternal flame in the water.
Now, we also have to say...
And now, what part of town is this?
Your video, actually, this may be parts of it.
This may be part of mine and part of yours, one or the other.
Well, the way that I could tell is basically because I don't think you guys flew on the flight restrictions.
Oh,
this is all
this
your
is
stuff.
yours.
Okay, we had to fly on a 5,000-foot limit, which is basically...
we were at 500 feet up.
Right, so that's a much bigger difference. We're trying to get the best stuff we possibly can for you guys, just so you can understand what we're dealing with here. But St. Bernard, by far, has had it the worst. We had 2 women show up at our station last night, just begging to get some information out. And we have a lot of names that have been thrown at us. Can you
Todd,
please tell
can you
us?
tell me where this is again?
Lakeview
Lakeview Cemetery. Look at the
Right.
water there, and this is
Canal Boulevard on the right.
It's
we're
just
trying to get a lot of our bearings here.
the closer you are to the 17th Street Canal on the Orleans side, it's horrible.
And this is the big cemetery owned by Stewart Enterprises, and they, you know, there's the police memorial out there. I mean, it's a very beautiful cemetery, and you can see the I-10 in the background. And of course, did you fly over where the Mound Underpass, the railroad crossing, was it still flooded?
Still flooded.
And I assume it's going to be flooded for quite some time.
And there's just different areas, just depending on what we were amazed to see is that different parts of Metairie and Kenner are just doing so much better. The water has really receded, I mean, since all of this happened. But in other areas, St. Bernard, you basically have the water up to the rooftops.
And those are our cemeteries and the tombs that we bury above ground in New Orleans.
And that's a new, I believe it's a Baptist church that they just built. I'm not sure if it's got completed, but it's been under construction for quite some time.
Right.
They have a couple of signs on the interstate. It's a beautiful big church. And one of the things they were fearing on some of those cemeteries is that since they are above ground, oftentimes in some flooding, some coffins, as you see there, have floated out.
Wow.
And it's been quite a concern.
Yeah, this is all of your stuff, Eric. This is stuff, like we said, because of there's so many, you know, rescue choppers and just the Coast Guard, what they were doing literally was knocking on rooftops yesterday, going through different roofs that they could see people have cut out, and basically knocking, saying, "Are you in there?" And we captured a couple of rescues. I know, Eric, a personal friend of yours that you got to watch, you know, get his life saved. And when I tell you that the boat just literally pulled up by the roof and said, "Hey, come on down," that's how high the water is in St. Bernard.
Yeah, and you know, in some of those homes, those single-story homes, the water is up sometimes past the gutters, almost covering the entire roof.
Absolutely.
That's when you realize how deep the water is. And you know, the desperation, we keep on talking about how if it's your family, it is the most important rescue in the world. And all these families who are either seeing somebody or know of one of their family members, and they are helpless and waiting for the authorities to get there. As we said, for you, it's the most important rescue.
No doubt.
For the authorities, for the National Guard, for the Coast Guard, whomever's doing the rescuing, they have 5,000 or 10,000 most important rescues. And it's an overwhelming job.
And as we look at the video here, we cannot tell if there's someone in some of those houses. We often say, well, we can see them if they're on the roof, but some people can't get to their roof. They may be in their attic. And there's just no way to tell how many people have evacuated and how many people are trapped.
And you know, over the years, we've covered flood after flood after flood. And we thought we kind of knew about that. Not that we've gotten used to it, but we've covered enough of them. But when you see something on these gargantuan proportions, it's just so hard to fathom.
It's something the world has, well, our country has never seen. And the only thing that can perhaps compare to this was the Galveston hurricane in 1900, where some 6,000 to 12,000 people lost their lives.
Yes.
And the mayor says that we're talking about thousands of people here. People who survived this storm, this devastating hurricane, are now trying to restore their lives. And if you want to help, these are the numbers. Again, we want to put them up on the screen and allow you to make that call to 1-800-HELP-NOW. That's the Red Cross number. They've received millions of dollars in the past 3 days, but it will take millions more. And the Salvation Army, 1-800-SAL-ARMY, and Catholic Charities, they'll be taking up collection in Catholic churches nationwide. This Sunday, 1-800-919-9338. If you want to make a personal donation, the Episcopal Relief and Development Fund, 1-800-334-7626. United Methodist Committee on Relief, 1-800-554-8583. Operation USA, 1-800-678-7255. These are all organizations that FEMA has said are reputable organizations, many of them well known. And FEMA charity tips, if you want to find out more about that, you can go to their website. And also National Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster, if you want to find out about those, you can go to their website as well. And the Louisiana SPCA is trying to rescue animals. And if you want to help out, you can contact their website. The Islamic Relief Fund has been set up, and they are collecting for Katrina's aftermath. And you can go to their website, ICNA Relief. That's another website there. And Humane Society of the United States, if you want to get involved, we have their websites all up there. And we will be putting them on again as the days go on, because the need is going to be there. I've been talking about all this morning the website where people can express their feelings about what has happened to the hurricane victims. It's a way the internet has become that neighborhood, and you can go to wwl-tv.com and be a part of that neighborhood, that community, and that is a place where you can give information about where you are, and you can also go and check to see where your loved ones are on that website. And also you can find out about different areas, all the areas. You have some people with eyewitness accounts saying that. We have pictures, just dozens and dozens of pictures of different areas of the community that are affected by Hurricane Katrina. It's all available at wwl-tv.com.
And of course, the most important thing we're trying to do now is get new information to you. If you're just joining us, the things you do want to know is how's your neighborhood doing, how's the levee breach doing, and what's happening in the way of controlling some of these looters in the city. Mike Hoss is joining us in a couple of seconds. We've got crews out all over today, and again, there's such a wide area of things that have to be covered, so many questions that do have to be answered, and we're doing our best to try and get you as much information as we can, as accurately and quickly as we can.
So many of the members of the eyewitness family arrived last night from New Orleans, where they had been working, and they've seen this devastation firsthand from the ground. They have looked into the faces of those who are desperately in need of help, and one of those is Mike Hoss. And Mike, can't tell you how good it is to see you.
Yeah, it was quite a reunion last night when the Baton Rouge team and the transmitter team, as we've now been dubbed, the New Orleans, got back together. You would have thought that we hadn't seen each other in a year, as opposed to 4 days, but they're.
I knew it was good when some people I hardly knew said, "Boy, I really like you." You know, that was good.
Did you miss Eric?
Yes.
See, there you go, Mike.
But we've been watching and listening to you guys. You know, whenever we're not on, and so last night we got together, and when we finally got in town, it wasn't until like 10:30, 11 o'clock, but an establishment restaurant, and we went all down there, and the Baton Rouge team and the transmitter team. And there were people in the restaurant going, "We don't understand what," because we were hugging, and it was just and they were like,
I know.
Well, but you just saw them Saturday, right? And they it's hard to comprehend. It's hard to understand that.
And we were talking about that earlier, Mike. But you know, we're seeing this with a lot of folks, and I was in a restaurant last night too, and New Orleanians, because they recognize a familiar face, they want to come up, and we love that familiarity. And it's like a piece of home coming back to you, and so you've been out before. You go out of town, and New Orleanians are just like that.
Right.
That's just the way we are. But especially in a time of crisis, it's even more so, where it kind of brings all of us together. But if I can, you were in New Orleans from through the hurricane to the time of the water coming up and the best and the worst coming out in people.
You want me to start from? When do you want me to start?
Where would you like to start?
Wherever you'd like to start.
It's been,
But it's good to hear your experience because most of us weren't in New Orleans,
We
obviously.
weren't there. And can the camera truly capture all that you experienced?
Oh no. That's what we told everybody that we were talking to last night in Baton Rouge. That's the hardest thing. I was talking to Lee Zirk. I said, you've been working your tail off. You've watched it from the air. You've seen all the video. And I said, trust me, you have no idea how bad it is. As much as you know, excuse me, you have no idea how bad it is. And so you can't get a grasp of it until you're there. Certainly, we left the station. We had to leave the station Sunday.
Part of it was security.
Night. Yeah, now.
Now.
Not initially.
Oh, Sunday. I'm sorry.
Sunday,
Sunday.
when the storm was beginning to.
Forgive me, I'm a little off on the day
Yeah.
sometimes.
In fact, I generally write it down. Today is Thursday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's September 1st.
Oh, okay, good. Because let's say goodbye to August.
Yes.
Sunday night, Dennis and I were on the air, and it was time to go. The conditions had decided it was just, let's get out, and so we went to the Hyatt and spent the night there. The storm hit, throughout the night, and then it was, it was bad, but it was, where we were kind of blocking the CBD. It lasted, I guess, didn't last as long as I thought it was going to last. I think that I was expecting 6-7 hours of this 140-mile-an-hour winds.
In fact, that night, Walter Maestri from the Jefferson Parish EOC was thinking it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be.
Right, and that's and Mayor Nagin said something like the first night he was on our air after the storm, and the difference is, he goes, the more I learn, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
And so you're right. I mean, the initial, and then Monday, the storm hit and we were starting to assess the damage, and we were in the CBD. So again, you're very isolated.
Right.
We didn't know anything about New Orleans East in any of those areas.
Mike, I'm afraid we're going to have to break in right there, but just stick around with us. We have Michael DeRoche of Terrebonne Parish. Michael, what's the situation down there? We haven't heard a lot about Terrebonne, although I know at home it's pretty rough.
Yes, we have some structure, a lot of structural damage, and we still have a lot of areas out of power. We're working. The utility companies are working diligently to restore them. One company is at 100%. The other of those that can be put on. Another one is about I'd say 80% complete, and there's one that's just getting started. They put the first people back on yesterday, so they are working real hard to get it on. We have, like I said, it's a lot of structural damage and stuff. We only have 150 residents in Terrebonne Parish still in shelters.
Really? And let me ask you this: are you asking people to stay out of the parish, or is it not that dire at this time?
No, it's not dire. They're coming in. In fact, what we actually have done is we've become part of the solution instead of part of the problem. We have over 1,000 refugees from the New Orleans area in shelters here in Terrebonne Parish right now.
Over 1,000. How are you housing all of these refugees?
We have some at the Civic Center, our Civic Center. We have some at the East Park Recreation Center. We're in the process of going to get some more right now to bring to another facility that we're fixing to start opening.
And Mike, again, let's go over where a lot of the damage was in Terrebonne. You guys got part of the western side of that storm.
Right. We have some damage in the low-lying areas, and we have some in the city too. Some damages is scattered all over the parish.
What about flooding?
There was no reports of flooding because we were on the western side of the storm.
Well, you guys got lucky.
Well, what do you need to take care of all of these refugees? Do you have enough food and water?
We getting all kind of stuff being poured into the area. People have been very generous in helping, bringing stuff into us, and our civic organizations are stepping up and buying things that we can to help feed these people.
What about?
We actually have a lot of clothing that was donated for all three for all the areas that we have people.
That just sums up Terrebonne Parish, one of the most welcoming communities you'll ever find anywhere. But let me ask you this, Mike. What about the kids going back to school? The schools in New Orleans and Jefferson won't open for months. Are there plans to have the kids enroll in Terrebonne Parish?
I'm not sure how that's going to work yet. I know Terrebonne Parish will open. Public and private schools will open again Tuesday after the Labor Day weekend, and we'll go in on that way.
And now, if people are looking for a place to leave, to seek refuge, are you saying they can come down to Terrebonne? Do you have room for them, or what?
We have some slots available. We have about 50 or so slots available right now.
But you couldn't take a whole lot more than that, is what you're saying.
Right now, I mean, if we can get some additional resources from the National Guard for security purposes, we could open a couple of more facilities to take more people.
Yeah.
Have you had any problems whatsoever?
Some little minor ones, but we living through. And
Mike is still with us. We do have some new video from New Orleans that we do want to roll as Mike tells us a bit more about
what he saw.
It was the hardest part. If this is new video, let's because I'm kind of curious myself.
I'm not even sure. Is this
new?
I don't. This doesn't seem new.
No, I've seen this before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Monday, you know, when by 10:30, again, the eye was about over us, the western wall over us and Slidell, and the eastern wall over Hancock County, Mississippi.
Now we're seeing new video, and these helicopters coming in.
This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is on the I-10 Causeway intersection right now, where they have set up this massive evacuation refuge area where they were bringing the people with the helicopters from New Orleans East. I was there yesterday about 12:30, and it was the first time we had spoken to people from New Orleans East. You know, it was such a hard hit area.
These folks had a lot of flooding, yeah.
When you say the first time, New Orleans East was so hard hit that.
Oh yes, and we'd only seen aerial video. We didn't know where they were taking them. You know, there was rescue efforts in Bywater and Gentilly and all over. We had not actually had any contact with New Orleans East residents.
So Mike, what happens to these people after they're taken care of there? Where do they go?
They weren't exactly sure, but you know what? They didn't care. They were going. Some were told Opelousas, some were told Baton Rouge, and so this, if this is the place, then they have been doing this for 24 hours to give you an indication. And when I was there was 1,000 people there.
I was going to say,
and it's just
so many people.
The more you watch the video and the newer it is, and they're still doing the same thing, the more grasp you get of the size and the number of people that are still out there.
Yeah, and that's why the president says it's going to be one of the biggest relief efforts this country has ever seen, and it's going to take the full force of the federal government to go ahead and make this all work, because the amount of people who have been affected like this is just, it's unthinkable.
Did you run into people that were just asking you, desperate for help, wanting to know how they could get out?
Yes, we've been offered many things to help people, and it's crushing, because we're trying to provide information to a lot of people, and you try to stay focused as you can, but you want to help as many people as you can. When we were at the Causeway I-10 interchange yesterday, there were some people who just ran up and just said, let me just look into the camera and say, I'm Susan Johnson, I'm fine, just the hopes that somebody out there will see it and let their family see.
What are we looking at here?
That's the 17th Street Canal. That's the breach. That is the Fleur-de-Lis on the Orleans side, around the Fleur-de-Lis area, and those are those houses.
And that's a beautiful neighborhood too.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it's a beautiful neighborhood.
And these are those sandbags that they've been talking about. They had to build a road to actually get out there to be able to drop them in. To put it in the breach.
And Mike, do we know how that operation is going? Because you talk about a giant effort. That's a giant effort.
What's sad is they have sandbags in there already. You know what I mean?
But it's a deep breach.
It's the problem, and it's such a deep breach. And so you get them in there as much as you can, and then they're supposed to bring a big concrete barrier to try to block it off. You've got two things you got to block off. Initially, what they had to block off was the canal.
Yeah.
Block off the canal to get to the breach. Try to stop the breach, and then go unblock the canal, because that's You got to get the water back out.
And you know, until that's done, this city will be at the mercy of the lake. Will be at the same height as
Right.
the lake.
It's not not continuing to come in, but we're not going out at all.
No, and unfortunately, the lake goes up and down, and so it will with some of the homes. I know my home in Uptown, before the breach, was dry, and now it may have 5 feet of water. I'm not sure.
That was my question. Do we know any more about post-breach? Let's say we left yesterday, evening. Do we know how far the water went down? Did it go to the river? Did it make the river?
No, I don't think it made the river.
Okay.
And I've heard varying reports on that, but I've not been able to confirm those. But I have heard reports that there was some flooding in some parts of the Garden District. But again, if you're watching, I do not have that confirmed. The way I know about my neighborhood around Jefferson Avenue is a friend of mine is down by St. Charles. Now he had on Jefferson, and he had water up to his door, but not inside his house. So the water there, it's a little bit higher. As you know, the closer you go to the river, the higher it gets. But then in my block of Jefferson, up around Ferret, then all of a sudden it gets, the closer you get to Claiborne, the higher it gets. We saw a video of Claiborne and Napoleon yesterday, and I mean the water in some places was up to chest high.
Chest high.
There were people who were just trying to get around, and that's an area that parts of Napoleon flood sometimes, but I don't know if that was that deep or even flooded prior to the breach. Because when that breach happened, it just started sending water, especially into Lakeview areas, the 9th Ward and places like that.
And there were thoughts that it would go up to 9 feet on St. Charles Avenue.
Right.
That did not materialize to our knowledge. And also there was fear that it would get into the French Quarter, but last we heard, the French Quarter is dry. So we just have to wait and see what transpires there.
We have a package from Ben Lemoyne. Speaking of Slidell, he was in Slidell and has a look at some of the damage there. Here's Ben's report.
Well, for the third day in a row, the people in Slidell, just like people all across the Gulf Coast, are without the basic necessities. The mayor here calls it nothing short of catastrophic, and he says it's about time he gets some help. Wednesday brought another day of searching for the Helmers family, but what with most of their cars and houses flooded, finding the bare essentials isn't easy.
We're trying to find some baby food now. We're running low. So we just got back to the house and just took a couple more jars at the pantry.
8-month-old Kennedy is down to 2 boxes. Then they're in trouble.
That's it. That's what we salvaged at the house. Just baby food, and that was it.
You see where that house is right there? You take a right. My house is down that street.
Their entire neighborhood and all of their houses are underwater. After riding out the storm in Florida, the Helmers family says they need help at home.
There's no one from Florida to here that has gas, electricity. Even the smallest of the cities just doesn't have anything. You know, you're eating all your food, you're pretty much down to junk food. And, you know, how is anybody going to open anything in this? You can't. Nobody can get to it.
That's why Slidell officials want help to get to them. It just hasn't happened yet.
Hopefully we'll have them in place tomorrow. We keep hearing they're coming, but for God's sakes, whoever's the Red Cross volunteers, come here today or tomorrow, no later, please.
Around the city, Mayor Ben Morris estimates 15,000 people are homeless after the hurricane. Cars are flooded and shopping centers that are flooded. And police say stores with broken windows have become tempting targets for looters. They've arrested 6 people so far.
As far as I'm concerned, next to a pedophile, they're at the bottom of the food chain as a human being, and I have no use for them. And if we come here and we catch you, I hope you get hurt running from us.
In the meantime, it's the honest folks who will suffer. For a city that has lost so much, they're just ready to get a little back.
I want to cry. My mom lost her car over there by my nephew's house. We obviously lost the house too, just as they did. There's really no words to say other than you start over.
Mayor Morris expects that his water system could be 30 to 40% effective by sometime Thursday afternoon. However, he considers restoring electricity here his #1 priority. He says that could take 2 to 3 months. Reporting in Slidell, Ben Lemoyne, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
And maybe we can show you that video that we just ran a moment ago, showing you the buses caravanning in to take the people out of the Superdome, out of the convention center, and get them out of the city. So many National Guardsmen coming in, several thousand more today. He said the number of National Guardsmen is increasing exponentially.
And he said the full force of the federal government is responding to this disaster. He said it's understandable that local officials like Colonel Ebert in Orleans Parish and Dr. Maestri in Jefferson Parish would be frustrated that things aren't happening as quickly as they would like, but he said the full force of the government is responding, and they're responding to needs as soon as they hear about those needs and responding to all requests as quickly as they can. So pretty much defending the complaints that we've heard recently that FEMA has not responded quickly enough, and Colonel Eppert, I mean, that's very strong, calling it a national disgrace, the way FEMA's handled this so far.
You are looking now at video aerial shots taken of the Superdome and the crowds there. And it was interesting, Mike Brown saying that it's difficult to determine how many people need to be evacuated from the Superdome, because he said as they evacuate people, more and more people come to the Superdome. They see the buses arriving, they see the people leaving town and heading to better places. And as soon as those people are evacuated, more and more people are coming to the Dome. I do not know if those people were in the Dome and awaiting their departure, or if those are people that lived in other parts of the city that are arriving at the Dome in hopes that they too will be evacuated.
And the National Guard at the news conference also talked about the number of troops coming in, National Guardsmen. 4,700 National Guards troops were in town last night. Tonight, he said there will be 7,400. And he said tonight there will be 6,000 National Guardsmen in Mississippi. And he said that number will grow in Louisiana to 12,000 and in Mississippi to 12,000 in the next few days.
I want to introduce you to 7 children from the Williams family. The youngest being this little guy right here, who is 4 months old.
Oh my God.
And he's got brothers and sisters. The oldest of his brothers and sisters is just 7 years old. And they are here right at I-10 at this makeshift MASH unit. They got off the helicopter a little earlier today, brought by a neighbor who reported that they cannot find the children's mother. Some volunteers are taking care of them. They're dehydrated, they're tired, they're hungry. They're going to need some further medical assistance, but at this point they are just lost. The neighbor, they couldn't find the mother. The information that they have is sketchy. What they know is that the woman's name, according to one of the ambulance workers, is Katrina Williams. Certainly the irony is not lost there. Katrina Williams. This is what we know, and again, they're getting this information from the oldest child, who knows his mother's name. We don't know what city. He remembered a 3rd Street, and remembered it was across from a school. So, if you're out there looking at this, and you might know of these children, the youngest being 4 months, the oldest being 7 years old, 7 of them, and the mother's name is Katrina Williams. Don't know anything about the father at this point, but if we could go back to the video, as you know, we know that the name is out there. Boy, it was heart-wrenching.
That is heart-wrenching.
The medical worker said they're not in bad shape. Don't know, how long they had been. They had been on a rooftop of an apartment complex. We do know that, according to the neighbor who brought them. But they have not been able to locate the mother, and so Children's Services, Human Services, will come and take the children and take care of them, make sure they have the proper medical assistance, and then you hope.
Is the neighbor able to help these rescuers?
I don't
tell them where the mother is.
Who the
mother is.
What happened was the neighbor. There are certain people that they get in contact to off the helicopter, then helicopters to new people, then new people to new people to get them to this point, which is the medical unit. And the people I spoke to did not know that. I don't know what the neighbor said off of the actual helicopter, or if in fact, by word of mouth, maybe it wasn't a neighbor, maybe it was somebody who knew of them, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of information out there, but it was one of the more astonishing stories of people who have been rescued from all over the city. One man we talked to had been up on Interstate 10 for 3 days, waiting to be rescued. But again, people from the convention center were out there, so they're from all over. But Katrina Williams, if you have ever heard of this woman, or some of the seven kids. They were all pretty playful. This 7-year-old was, you won't see him in here because he's all over the place.
How many kids?
7.
7 kids.
7 children. 4 months of age would be that youngest infant that the man was holding up until 7 years of age. Got off the helicopter. No word at all of their mother.
And were other people on the roof with them? I guess this other woman, this neighbor was, or?
I guess, again, I mean, the information, we don't have information from the neighbor, so it's very hard to tell. All we have is what these medical workers know was when the kids were brought up to them. Here it was very sketchy. We can't find the mother. They got off of an apartment roof. We don't know, but they were. I mean, if you think about it, it's Thursday afternoon. Whatever they had been, I bet was not ideal conditions. If you think wherever they were in the city, and so to be really in that good a shape, I think is a plus. They were a little dehydrated. Tired and hungry, which that was getting taken care of. Look at the smile. See, so I mean,
You're getting some much-needed TLC.
Yeah, and we're going to hear from that lady in the red shirt a little later. As I'm going to go back and work on it some more. She was a volunteer from Plaquemines, and she works for a church, and she was bringing down some water just to help the needy. And then she saw these kids just to volunteer to do something else, and she said, no, I mean, they needed some help. They needed, the kids were running around. It was hard to corral them, and so she decided she would just stop and help. So this is one of those stories in all this sadness that we hope can somehow have a happy ending. But we'll need everybody's help that's out there, that's watching this on battery-operated televisions or over the internet, or if you are on the internet or know anything about it, know anything about this woman. And again, I know the address is sketchy, 3223 3rd Street. I tried to put that in Google MapQuest. It's certainly difficult without a city, and one did come up from Kenner. Our news director, Sandy Breland, knew of a 3rd Street in Kenner, but it didn't match the actual address. So we'll keep working on it, but we hope you will as well to try to help us out in this story.
And Bill, you were in Grand Isle, huh?
Yeah, and we'll tell you about what you were talking about the port. As we flew towards Grand Isle, we flew up and down the river, and we saw barges tied up all along the river, ships at anchor, just stationary, and very little activity at all on the river today.
Wow.
So, and that is about 2/3 of the nation's commerce comes through this port, particularly the grain and all. In fact, the pilot said, "Oh, that's." We passed over one of the grain elevators. He said, "That's where our corn goes." Grand Isle. It was our first chance to get down to Grand Isle since the storm. We've heard a number of reports about the damage there. To see it though is rather amazing. We have some pictures. We started. As we flew through Golden Meadow, this is in Leeville. This is in Bayou Lafourche in Leeville, and as we flew through the Golden Meadow and Leeville area, you could see there was a fair bit of house damage, but it was mostly shingles off of roofs, not major damage. We did see a couple of houses that had lost roofs. We saw some trailers that were damaged, and a number of trees that were down and power lines that were down, but it was not of the level that you're going to see when we get down to Grand Isle. And as we hit the area approaching, I want to say this is the Chenier Caminada area on the outskirts of Grand Isle. Take a look at the damage here. Now this is significant damage. This is wind damage. You can see the roofs are ripped open. You can see the debris is spread, siding is ripped off of homes. The debris is spread throughout the area. They also had, it looks like, some high water, but what you're seeing there is mostly wind damage. Now this, we haven't gotten to Grand Isle yet. This is the little town that is just on the shore side of Grand Isle. Anybody who's made that long drive knows that you're very glad to see.
Yes, absolutely. When you finally get to Grand Isle.
You begin to feel like you're at the end of the earth by the time this little area shows up. So, watch, Bob will flip the camera around in a second, and you'll see, because there's something very interesting coming up. There's a good bit more damage all the way up to the Causeway Bridge, but notice the cars that are parked there. That's because you can't get your car onto Grand Isle. People are not being allowed to drive to Grand Isle today, and the reason is just ahead of us. But you can see there's still fairly high water in this area. I don't know whether this is a storm surge that is not drained, but there's the road right there to the bridge. They've got fire trucks, they've got police on duty, and they are manning basically a barricade there, and I'm sure that they're checking driver's licenses and only allowing Grand Isle residents or those who own property on Grand Isle to go and check their camps, to check their homes. But look at the amount of damage there.
And certainly the North Shore has been an area that we've been following, and an area hit very hard by Hurricane Katrina. Carla Redondo has more on the North Shore situation. The left side, the west side of the eye wall went over the Slidell area, and it was pounded.
That's right, and I'm a little more, touched and based with the Slidell area. I live in Slidell, and so looking at the eye wall when it happened, I knew that it could possibly be pretty bad around Slidell. And today I took a drive and I returned home to see what, if anything, was left and see how my house shaped up. So this is how it looked today. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carla Redondo at WWL-TV. Today I'm going back to the North Shore to see my house. Well, we're heading into Slidell. That's where I live, and I really wanted to see what the house looked like and what the neighborhood looked like, how the residents of Slidell are faring. And that used to be the French market. They used to sell all kinds of vegetables and fruit. Looks like their structure is gone, but they're still in business, it appears. How you doing?
Doing fine, man. As good as can be. You know what happened to our house? And
really?
Yeah, it's devastated.
Yeah.
We only got about 8 inches of water here, but we got the full brunt of the wind. We have an open parking lot next to us, and it just, it was devastating.
You got to sell this.
Yeah, we got to sell it. It's got to go today. Probably everything after today, we'll probably pack up with the non-perishables and take them with us, and the rest of it, it's past its prime, really. Yeah, the stuff that's no good. I mean, give it away, whatever.
Wow, roof damage there. There's that boat right there in the road. This is where I live. This is where I spend my time when I'm not at work. Can't tell you the number of times I travel up and down this stretch of Pontchartrain Drive, Front Street, Highway 11. This is my part of Slidell. A lot of good people over here. Wow, it's just amazing to see all this debris that used to be homes and camps, all with that storm surge. That's why you want to get away from the water, away from the coast. Turning the corner towards my house, there's definitely a smell in the air of rotten water, seashells, dead fish all over the side of the road. This doesn't look real. Wow. Here I am. Unbelievable. Just had to see for myself.
I know. We did pretty good. This is my daughter's home, and we do have a pine tree across the back bedroom, the master bedroom.
It's overwhelming. We don't even know if we should start making plans yet where we're going to live.
What's the hardest thing?
The hardest thing is telling our kids what it looks like. But it could have been worse because we couldn't have had them to tell.
Oh, wow. That's what a storm surge does. I was first relieved a little bit because the house was still there, no broken windows, shingles looked intact. Then I realized that all the mud all over the place was because of the storm surge. So it was amazing to see all the furniture rearranged. Things that were in the bedroom were out in the kitchen. Some places looked like they weren't even touched. I had a lamp and 2 crystal thermometers standing up on a table that were perfectly in the same spot. And other things were toppled over. Chest of drawers were on their backs. The refrigerator's poking out. It just shows you how powerful the force is of water when it's coming from a storm surge of a Category 4 hurricane. As life goes, it's just another chapter. You close this one and you start a new one, and this is going to be a long and hard chapter, but, it's something you have to do. People from this area are not quitters. And, it'll be back. Just take a while. I knew what to expect. I knew that it was going to be flooded. The bottoms of the walls were buckled inward. I mean, the force of the water rushing in.
Your exterior walls?
Interior walls.
Interior walls,
were
okay.
buckled inward, so the force of the water coming in the house just kind of buckled all the walls around the exterior. So it was just, I had to see for myself what a storm surge does. You know, what's funny is I was preparing my house for wind damage. I took picture frames, put them away. I never thought the surge would get that far.
How far away are you from the lake?
I'm about, well, when Mike Ross first did the report, you know, he had the water up to Old Spanish Trail.
Right.
I'm between Old Spanish Trail and the lake. Well, we know now that the surge went almost to Gauze. That's the third exit coming out of off the twin span. So I didn't expect storm surge damage. That's why I had some things down low that I probably should have up high. And a lot of the picture frames are still on the wall, so no wind damage. It was actually storm surge damage.
Water damage.
Today we did get a chance to go to Gulfport, one of the areas that many people in New Orleans enjoy, go to casinos, have a good time. And we'd like to show you some of the destruction that Hurricane Katrina did inflict on Gulfport. This is downtown Gulfport, and Brian Lucas and I were driving down. This is the downtown road that would lead to the casino towards the beaches. And you can just see the amount of debris that is littering the street right now. And that is the beach area. Some of the roads are now impassable.
Wow.
Take a look at the storm, the type of power the storm surge brought from the water onto the land. The military police, the military presence now in Gulfport is increasing because at this point there is little electricity and people are trying to go to gas stations. And at those areas, they're finding that 6-hour lines. And right now, that's the marina. That's the Gulfport Marina.
Wow. You know, we saw aerials yesterday from Bill Capo, but you get a totally different perspective from these shots on the ground.
You know, for people who vacation there, you know, New Orleanians who know this area, that's where the casinos are.
Yeah.
And in a little bit, we'll show you what happened to the casinos. And those casinos are so vital to the economy of Gulfport. And right now, that economy for many people is in jeopardy. And again, this is the downtown area leading to the marina. And the debris is just smacked and just shot right along the buildings. And everywhere we looked, there was very, and you will see later some of the foundations, some of the bases of these buildings are really hollow. And that is the force of, now keep in mind, these are structurally stronger buildings than people's homes. We couldn't get to the residential areas of people's homes in Gulfport. Imagine...
You weren't able to drive, just get there at all, or?
Some of the roads, Highway 90 is now impassable. It is very much a situation where the bridges are out and you can't get there.
How did you get to Gulfport then?
Well, we went to I-10. We left here, took I-12, and take a look at the impact that this has on people. These are some people right now who are just seeing that famous marina for the first time. They told me that there is no way they can comprehend and begin to process what they're seeing. This is the first time. This lady was actually in a hospital. She's been working since the storm. This is her first chance to get out of the hospital because she had to be hunkered down with the patients. Her voice was very raspy, and this woman wouldn't, and she couldn't talk to us. She couldn't comprehend what was happening.
Now, do you see very many people out walking around, or very few people?
There is a good amount of people. There is more traffic able to flow in and out of the city. The roads are being cleaned up, and that's the Copa Casino. And that's the Copa Casino right there. And that is an area near the cargo containment facility where a lot of cargo trucks will come, station, drop off their cargo. And what you can't experience on television is the stench. The stench there, it is mixed with rotten food, rotten fruit from that cargo. And people are now, that stench is coming from that marina area and coming towards downtown and going beyond that. So the conditions right there, though not similar to New Orleans, is in itself very bad for the people in Gulfport. And again, the military police are trying to go in and assess the damage. And
Did that stench hit you long before you actually got there?
Yeah. I mean, you could smell faint traces of it as you approach the downtown area. But once you got down there, you see the dole truck, you see the fruit trucks. Those trucks were basically shredded and just slammed into the casinos, slammed into the hotels that are so vital to the economy of Gulfport.
You know, Tanya, I'm sorry to cut you. You look at this, and it's going to take so long to clean this up.
It will, and take a look at the need for communication at this point. This cell phone company decided to set up shop to give people 5 minutes. They got 5 minutes to get in touch with their family. And of course, they have to, right now, keep control of traffic because this gentleman here, this military policeman, was telling people, you know, with his gun, armed right by his side, that they're going to have to wait at least 6 hours. 6 hours just to get gas. And these people were getting away from 6 hours. And that was when it was good, was what they were telling us.
Absolutely. And we have some more information. And our own Josh McKelvin was in Kenner today and actually got a chance to check on some folks there at Bonneville High School. And so we're going to take a look at what he found.
I think he told me it was around 11 o'clock Tuesday.
Justin Durning was barely conscious, and as he puts it, barely alive, when he was pulled from the attic of his New Orleans East home.
I guess when I got hurt a long time ago, and I was almost killed. I think it was in 1951, an automobile accident. But I think this was close to me.
Durning, like so many others in this shelter at Bonneville High School, say they owe their lives to people they don't even know and probably will never get to thank. But the gratitude is almost impossible to express.
The police, paramedics,
parish president.
the military people.
What you told him?
It was fantastic.
Currently, there are 800 people at this Jefferson Parish shelter. And while they survived the storm itself, they say the conditions at their place of refuge are becoming dangerous.
I'm a diabetic, and I had to walk out in the water, and now my feet's all infected and swollen up, and there's nowhere I can get no insulin. I haven't had any insulin in 4 days, and walking through this water, even by the bathroom down there, I think we're going to have a cholera problem around here. Because people walking in there, they get a lot of germs in there.
What these people don't know is that this shelter is one of the better ones. Volunteers from Arkansas are providing 2 meals a day, and there is no sign of the chaos reported in New Orleans. In fact, Kenner itself, while badly damaged, is stable.
The Kenner Police Department has become very versatile in everything that everybody's asked for us. We have been able to accommodate them. We're not just doing police work, we've done rescue work. Now we hope that we can help rebuild too.
And in the near future, Kenner will likely become a staging area for federal agencies.
I think that this will be a center place of activity to help rebuild New Orleans. And I'm very fortunate and happy to help our neighbors. We're all neighbors, and we need to extend that hand and spirit of cooperation.
The progress will be slow, and for those with nowhere to go, frustration doesn't describe their feeling. Fortunately, it's an emotion that's lost on many in the younger generation. They taking good care of you?
Yeah. They've been feeding us hot dogs and giving us juices and water.
What do you think about all this?
Mess. Just a mess.
A simple description, but one that seems utterly complete. Josh McKelvin, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
Wow. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Story after story.
Yeah, and I think it's really accurate what he said. So many people who owe their lives to so many people they don't even know.
You're right. And we talk about all the tragedy from storms, you know, like today, the 100 people in St. Bernard Parish dying, but then the storm also brings out, and you know, we've talked about this looting, the unfortunate thing, but you know, the storm and tragedies like this bring out the best in so many people. So many, you know, you see people here in Baton Rouge opening their arms. You see people in the New Orleans area trying to help people that they've never even met before, and that's if there's anything positive out of such an awful thing like this, it is that it brings out such a good side of people that sometimes you really, you know, don't see on an everyday basis.
Another place that is of major concern, Plaquemines Parish, and our own Dave McNamara spent time there today and has the latest on what he found there.
My sister Faith, if you see this, Dad's gone. We tried to get a call you, but we couldn't. We love you and we're fine.
A heart-wrenching message from a young woman.
Hope Dubois watched her father die as he was swept off his fishing boat at Empire during Hurricane Katrina.
We were stuck on top in a pokey boat. Thankfully for the pokey boat, we had shelter. We felt the debris. My father's dead. They just brought his body this morning.
This is your grandfather?
My father.
They found your father this morning?
Yes.
Yeah. What happened to him?
All I know is that he fell overboard. That's all we know. He was on a different boat than we were.
And it was hard, frightening,
We
very
survived it,
frightening.
though, by the grace of God.
Communities in Lower Plaquemines Parish were crushed by Katrina's storm surge that raced over hurricane protection levees behind homes and shoved waves over the 20-foot-high levees on the Mississippi River. The shells that you see covering Highway 39 in Braithwaite came from the top of the Mississippi River levee. During the height of Hurricane Katrina, the waves from the river washed over the levee top, and you can see how the levee was scoured by the force of the water pouring inland from the Mississippi River. As the water rose, the Johnson family of West Pointe-a-la-Hache was trapped inside their trailer home. They say it's a miracle they are alive today.
But the wind was whipping, man. It was strong. And so we just sat there inside the trailer as long as we could until help can come and get us.
How deep did water get inside?
It touched all the way at least 8 foot inside the trailer. But the trailer was afloat, so I know it was deeper than 8 foot.
But you stayed inside the trailer the whole time?
Yes, sir, because the peak of the trailer, while it didn't get all the way to the top peak, it caught the end of the wall where it's lower at. The water got up to it, but it didn't get to the peak. So we just floated on my daughter's toy chest until help arrived.
How many hours did you have to float on top of a toy chest inside your trailer?
10 hours.
Just the grace of God, how he just kept a space in between where we could have heard some air bubbles and stuff, but the water was over the trailer, but yet God had his mercy upon us because we had still up to the curtain rod, up to that.
In that trailer, it was another world. It was by the grace of God. You should have seen how that happened. Water coming like, up water like the trailer, and yet not coming in until God had us secure enough, then the water started coming in. It was amazing.
83-year-old Yvonne LaCrosse was also trapped inside the submerged trailer. She can barely talk about her ordeal.
Yes, sir.
What was that like for you?
I was frightened.
What was going through your mind while all that was happening?
I thought I was gone. Thought I would have gotten drowned.
As bad as it was, Plaquemines Parish officials say the water levels are beginning to drop.
In the Bellchase area, we have moved to where we have most of the streets cleared now. We're waiting on energy to show up and restore power. And from Bellchase to Jesuit Bend is in good shape other than the storm, the wind damage that you've seen around. In the southern end of the parish, from City Price to Venice, we are in the process of putting some holes in the levee to try to drain the water, as well as on the east bank. And that's our priority right now, is to get the water out.
In your east bank communities, what shape are they in?
They're totally underwater and devastated.
Extra ammunition is passed out to Plaquemines Sheriff's deputies, who now stand guard at their border with Jefferson Parish.
We're going to hold our parish here. What's happening in Orleans Parish and what's happening in Jefferson Parish is not going to happen in Plaquemines. And I think when you came in, you saw the roadblocks. I've got 100 deputies. I've deputized 50 more people, and we've armed them, and we're not going to let anybody cross this parish line. If they do, I've given orders for them to shoot them and to shoot to kill, because nobody's going to come down here and do to Plaquemines what's happened to Jefferson and Orleans.
What you're looking at here is driftwood, the debris which was on the river Batcher, on the riverside. And as a storm surge came up the river actually topped, came across the roadside.
Urban Truhl runs the Plaquemines Port Commission. He drives us from Braithwaite to Pointe-a-la-Hache on the east bank of the Mississippi River.
The storm surge that came across the levee actually lifted the house off the foundation and just moved it around.
Animals have found higher ground. Gulf of Mexico shrimp die on River Road. This year's orange crop has been stripped from the trees. Officials know there are more people who stayed in their homes during the hurricane who are still missing today. Yesterday, they found 2 bodies, a man and a woman, here in the Phoenix community. Bill Wigstrom is a registered nurse who volunteered to help in the Plaquemines Parish relief effort. What he's seen is overwhelming.
I see a woman come in with 4 children and 2 little girls, one had must have been 4 or 5 years old, and how excited they were to get 2 pieces of bread and some water and a piece of cheese. We came in and we got them some orange juice, and it was like that was gold to them. Some of the deputies went to some of the stores and brought back toys for these kids who absolutely had nothing. And just watching the expression of these 2 little girls was just like nobody can ever say.
Even the wildlife is suffering. A brown pelican, the Louisiana state bird, appears to have a broken wing. The pelican has lost its ability to fly. It's been 4 days since Hurricane Katrina unleashed her fury on the people of Plaquemines Parish and turned their world upside down. Dave McNamara, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
Unbelievable. And again, Dave McNamara in Plaquemines Parish. Well, we know that there are going to be many more stories like this in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead. And of course, we are going to be right here and continue to bring you the coverage of it all.